was making more than my mom at 17 because I was selling drugs. Yeah, I was getting evicted. My dog was getting sent to the pound. My car just crashed. My life kind of just fell apart when I was 17. I started studying the rich, and I'm realizing they're not spending their time for money. They're spending their money to make money.
What are the numbers like?
Last year, over 900,000.
Wow.
Almost 900. And we're gonna blow that away this year too.
People try to put us to down. Talking about my generation.
Welcome to the TLT Movement Podcast, a podcast for tomorrow's leaders today. In this episode, we have Tiago Bieter in the studio, one of my good friends. He's a TLT alumni. He's mentored at TLT, and you're a very business-minded guy. You're an entrepreneur. You're one of the wisest money people that I know. Your hustle is quite inspiring to me and the young men around us. So I'm honored and grateful to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah, man. To talk about all this stuff. So let's get into it. Let's talk about your business. What do you do for your business?
For my business?
Yeah.
I'll tell what my business is first.
Yeah.
It's basically a print shop. Like we have printers, cutters, and then we do drop shipping. But any product or company that needs to label or brand their company, and like even books or these papers or a water bottle, anything that you need a label on and to brand your product, we're that company that will make the artwork for you, will brand it for you.
Yeah, that's what's very unique about you, because there's a lot of companies out there, especially online, where you can order custom stickers, order custom all this stuff.
They don't do the artwork.
They don't do the artwork.
Yeah,
and so you guys have a whole design team where you work with the clientele. We actually had your CEO on, Tiago Bieter. That'll be in the description below. He's your cousin.
Yeah.
And so I know that he kind of started this RP packaging. When did you come into the picture?
So he probably had it for 3-4 years while it was just a printer and a cutter when he started it. He just had the idea and he bought the printer and made it happen. And then I came in 3-4 years later when it started making a lot of money, and it was no longer just a side hustle. Like we could turn it into a business, and he knew my background and all the things I've been through, and he just trusted my business mind to fly me out to California and be partners with him and help us blow this thing up. And we blew it up. Like it's good now.
It's popping.
It's popping.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Yeah, you guys have been killing it for years. If you don't mind getting transparent, like what are the numbers like?
Last year, over 900,000, just between. We have the two of us and then one part-time employee, so just three of us.
Wow.
Almost 900,000, and we're gonna blow that away this year too. We're moving into drop shipping now, it's no longer like in-house operations. It's all drop shipping. So we can. Do you know what drop shipping is?
I hear a lot about it online. I kind of know what it is, but inform.
So you're a company face. Someone comes to you for a product, and you go to another company to fulfill that product. So you're just the middleman between. You're like a middle party, and it's no work, and it's just we already have the company and all the customers and the database of all of it. So now we're just making money, doing nothing. It's connecting. It's what our company's probably going to grow to.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the big way to expand. I know that. I mean, Amazon started as a book company, and now they're not manufacturing too much, but they are a drop shipping company. And basically, when somebody has a product and they want to package it, they don't want to go to China and have to deal with all this. There's logistics.
A lot of communication in between it's a lot to deal with. Even just finding the right price and the connection from China, it's very hard to do down here.
Is China? I mean, they're the main manufacturers of the world. It seems. Is that
for all manufacturing and like mass production?
Do you see that changing in the next 10 years or no?
We can change it. We just have to. It's the way they do business. It's very like cut and smart. Like there's no corners cut. They're very like good with their business. Especially the production side and the operation side. So we'd have to step up our game a lot to be able to outproduce.
You mean like the United States?
Yeah.
Do you see? So from my perspective, the reason why China is able to produce products for the entire world is they kind of
they they're bad with it.
It's like slavery.
Yeah.
It's like they underpay their employees
A lot,
so
big
much,
time.
and it's connected with the government too. So it's a big. It's
But
just
that's why their prices are unbeatable. Is because we can't do that here. I wouldn't even pay I would not pay someone less than 15, 16 an hour just because that's unfair. I don't believe it.
yeah, you can't survive here
Yeah.
without. So what was it about your work ethic that Micaiah saw and said, I want to partner with this guy and scale the business with him? Like, what did you do before joining up with RP to prove to yourself and prove to him that you were capable?
From my perspective, because I can't answer for him, him and I were best friends our entire life. We were with each other every day, neck to neck, and we both came from very bad childhoods and traumatic childhoods. Drug addictions, just out on the street a little bit. And we both went very separate routes very early on because I caught hold of my vision that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to have success in umpires and all these businesses to generate passive income. So I caught on to that vision about 17 and he didn't. He was still out in the streets doing the things he shouldn't. So we went two very separate paths. I chose to go work at restaurants because I was a high school drop. I dropped out at 9th grade before I graduated.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 8th grade is my last.
I did not know that actually.
Yeah. So I didn't have the opportunity to go make a job that was offering 50,000 just right off the bat. Like that doesn't just come in the hands of someone like me. I was also young. I was 17.
Sure.
I just knew I had this vision. I knew I didn't want to be a doctor or an athlete or just go down the college route. I wanted to build an empire. And once I caught hold of that vision at 17, like I said, my life and it, like our lives completely split paths for a little bit until he caught hold of his vision. So I was grinding. I was working 50 plus hours a week for years and years of my life. By the time I was 18, I was managing restaurants. I was managing Chipotle's. I managed like 4 or 5, and then they gave me the opportunity to open up a new Chipotle and hire all their staff train all their staff and like completely build it from the ground up
Dang, that's huge.
It was such a good opportunity. So he just saw that I was managing all these different businesses and he saw the mindset and he saw the vision and he saw where I was headed with my life. And he saw all the sacrifices that I made compared to the people around me where they were going to parties or doing drugs or just having sex and having fun and like enjoying life as a kid, where I wanted my vision because of where I came from. And I think that's what he saw, is he saw my drive and he saw my ability and what I was producing with my discipline and all of that. And
so you're kind of pointing to your childhood in that. Let's get into that a little bit. What you said, it was bad, it was hard. What about, kind of tell your story a little bit, and then how did it inspire you to want to build a business empire?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I came from poverty. I came from Mom, if you're watching this, I don't want to bash her. I believe addictions and things are beyond humans. Like that's not who my mom was. That was her addictions, but she was addicted to drugs, to Oxycontins my entire life. So not my entire life, up to like 3 or 4 years ago, where she found God in jail. But because of her addictions and her inability to overcome her addictions, that my childhood was a very dark childhood. And as a result, that gave me that drive and that desire to make something more out of it. To explain more about like the childhood part, having a drug addict mom is a lot different than just saying having a drug addict mom. Like having a drug addict mom is having to deal with it's having to deal with her rage fits, her withdrawals, her sleeping all day, it's you being by yourself and not having someone, a role model, a conscious mind that you can look up to and ask for guidance. So I was bouncing in and out of people's houses all the way from like probably I stopped living with my mom at 12 because she was going in and out of rehabs, and we were very broke because her addictions forced her to spend all of our money on drugs and not food or the bills or power or water. Dang. So I was without all of that. I was without food. I was without AC. If I got hot in the middle of the night, I had a water thing. I had to just drip water on body because it was like so hot. I mean, that's normal in like most countries, but where I came from, that was broke. That was poverty. It was like ground zero. So that's where I came from, all because of circumstances that were beyond me. I didn't choose that. That was just the life that was given to me. And instead of just sulking it and accepting it and saying, this is my life, all my friends are addicted to drugs, my mom's addicted to drugs, I could have just sat there and been with them, but I knew that that was not my life. Like, there was no way I can ever have a kid and do that to my kid, or ever have a wife and do that to them. That's my big vision and my dream, is to be the best husband and to be the best father possible. And I knew that if I was going to go down that route at such an early age, that it would not lead me to that. So I don't even remember the question.
No, man, it's good. It'd be so easy to just accept that as your reality and be like, hey, this is how far my parents got. This is how far I'll get.
Mm-hmm.
And you decided that's not going to be your lot. And instead of, I feel like a lot of people nowadays, they're inspired by podcasts. They're inspired by these entrepreneurs or influencers that make all this cash. And they go, oh, yeah, I'm destined to be rich. I'm going to do it. And then they don't really move toward that.
Yeah.
So instead, you decided, hey, look, I'm in the 9th grade. This is not for me, basically.
Well, for me, it wasn't like a decision. It was, by the time I was 16, if I wasn't making enough money to pay the bills, there was no power. There was no food in the fridge. I was 16. I started working at 12, but I didn't start working full time, like 40 plus hours a week, till about 16. But it wasn't like I chose this. It was, I was forced into this. My mom was, I hope she's not watching, bro. She was not providing for me. So it forced me at such an early age to take accountability and to take hold of my life for myself. No one's going to do it for me. And because of the poverty that I faced and how hungry I was to never go through that again, that just gave me so much desire and discipline to moving forward towards my goals. So like I was saying, I didn't choose this life. Like, I was forced into, at a very early age with no high school degree, to start generating money to be able to provide for myself. So
it wasn't even a conscious decision like, hey,
No.
School's not for me. I'm going to go into the workforce.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, if I don't go into the workforce, the power's not going to be
Yeah.
on. We're going to be evicted and out on the streets. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty heavy thing to be put on you at 16.
Yeah.
And it was almost like you couldn't work full time and go to school. So
I had to, that's exactly why I dropped it. I through working and through just grinding at such a young age in restaurants and seeing all these old people and their lives and what they're doing with it, just working their entire lives in restaurants to make the next paycheck, basically. I very early on saw that working for money is not the way to make money. And
Right.
once I saw that, that's when all the research happened. That's when all the studying. That's when I started looking at people who are making millions and seeing how they're making millions. And
they're not just a manager at Chipotle.
yeah, they're not. Like,
Right.
even the top manager, I did the math, and that can't provide for a wife and kids. So I knew that I had to figure something out. I didn't know what it was. I didn't have time to figure out. I just knew that if I kept grinding and putting my all into physically working and then mentally, like, growing with money and growing my wisdom with money, that one day it would all click in a line. So
What was your first investment?
I mean, like, middle school, I was buying duct tape and making duct tape wallets and selling them for $20.
Well, that was the first business, but like investment, I know that
Investment.
I know that you now live inside of a condo that you own. So
Yeah.
when did you
That
buy
was my
that?
first big investment.
Yeah.
I bought a 2.2 when I was 21, I believe. And that was my first big investment, and it's already like doubled in the in the net worth and all that.
Yeah, in the value of it. I
Yeah.
think you bought it at what, $100,000?
135.
And now
And
it's worth,
in the probably close to the threes now.
wow, that's awesome.
I got it right at the right time with the market and how everything happened.
That is awesome. And then you also just recently invested in like a restaurant, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you own a restaurant.
I own a restaurant.
That's crazy, right?
It is. It's crazy to think about.
I heard that you bought it, but like, what's that upkeep look like? Like, so tell us about what kind of restaurant is it?
So it's an Italian diner restaurant. It's actually very easy. I got blessed with an opportunity because it's the restaurant my mom has been managing the last 2 years, and her owners, they got the opportunity and they wanted to sell it, and I just stepped right in because she presented it, and it ties into everything I believe in, passive income and having my money work for me. So it happened. The opportunity came in front of me, and I like went in on it. I made it happen, and she manages it all. Like, it's so handless. I just look at the bank statements and make sure everything's all right there.
It just makes some money.
Yeah, and I just make some money every month. It's great.
Nice. So we have a younger audience. Explain what passive income is, having your money work for you. It sounds great, you know, when you say it, but like, what does that actually look like? What's that mean?
So remember how I said I found out through working that I don't want to work. Like, I don't think anybody wants to work. So as I went into my studies, I realized that time is the most valuable resource. Time is something you cannot get back, and you spend it for money. You spend
you
your
trade
time.
it. Yeah.
I started studying the rich, and I'm realizing they're not spending their time for money. They're spending their money to make money. Like,
Right.
it was very clear. It was very, like, they'll even tell you that in podcasts and express it, but it's true. So you can look at it like this. There's people that make 20 million a year easily, no problem. What job do you know that pays 5 million a year? That's not 70 hours a week.
Right.
Like, in order to make money, you need money. You need to invest money.
Even to become a CEO where you're making millions of dollars, the amount of vetting that they do, like, what's your experience? What's your character like? What's like background checks, all this stuff? What's your education, your diploma? What school did you go to? All this to get that job. A lot of the richest people in the world, they're not CEOs of a company just because they got hired on.
Mm-hmm.
They started something, were able to grow it. Now their net worth, which for our audience that are young and might not know, it's not necessarily just how much money you have in the bank account. It's how much money you have in the bank account combined with every asset.
All your assets.
So for you, it would be the money that you have in the bank, this property that now you're technically worth $300K from the condo, and then what's the worth of the business?
Mm-hmm.
What would somebody be willing to pay for the business? How much does it generate a year? All of this. Now that asset is part of your net worth as well, and it brings in supplemental income where you just get to sit back, look at the bank statements, make sure everything's looking good, make sure you're complying with the regulations and you have all the proper paperwork. But as far as making a pizza, you're not there kneading the dough.
Yeah. I can enjoy my life now.
Right. So who are some of your inspirations? Like, what did you say?
Robert Kiyosaki is like the main one.
Who's that?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. His mindset towards it is what I align with the most.
Nice. And so did you read his books, or was it mostly
books, every podcast? So what I would do is while I'm working in restaurants and just slaving over a grill, just flipping burgers or whatever if I was working on a house, I'm just listening to podcasts the entire time, because I need to like keep growing my mind. I don't know how to make millions like that. Like, I need to keep gaining knowledge, and so I'd listen to all podcasts that had to do with, not all of them, but like all my hours were podcasts or YouTube videos or Googling things that had to do with how to make money.
We talked about this on the podcast I did with your roommate, Joshua Bieter, also your cousin. Joshua, he currently is a pool maintenance manager, and he drives DoorDash. And I was saying, when I drove DoorDash when I was like 19, 20, that was all I would do. I'd play audiobooks. I'd play podcasts. I learned more in that year or 2 years than I did in all of high school, just because I was educating myself on what I desired to know. And it's such a good way to do it as you work. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be like, oh, after work's done, then I can go home and read a bunch of books. It's like, you can learn. We live in an age where it's awesome. You can have wireless headphones in. Yeah. And totally,
and especially if you're making money while you're learning, like, might as well, bro.
Come on, yeah. Instead of going into debt, to learn, I mean, it's crazy. People don't realize all colleges, like, you can go on you can go on Harvard.com. They have all.
No, Google is everything you'll ever need to make
Yes.
money.
Yes.
You can find anything you
It's all up
ever
there for
need.
free.
Like even right now, I see that my company needs to like almost build an app and build a new website and do all these things. I'm just learning it. I'm just pushing myself in that door and Googling everything and going along the way. It can teach you anything you need to know. You don't need to go to college unless your job needs a specific degree.
Right. Like a doctor or like
Right,
a lawyer.
Then I'm against I'm against people who just go to college to figure it out and take some minor degree that they don't even need in life. It's
Or a
such waste of
degree
time.
like a liberal arts degree. Like you can paint and you can look on YouTube painting techniques. You don't need the piece of paper that tells you that you're a painter,
right.
basically.
I don't think I drove the point enough to show that you need money to make money, but given the fact that you need money to make money, I want to kind of like share a little tips and tricks to get from where I was making, I think $9 an hour to where I am now. Like, again, I don't have a high school degree. I don't have rich parents. I didn't have daddy's money or anyone to help me along the way. I was buying my own cars. I was paying my own bills. I was paying my own rent. So I just believe I have like a very cookie pattern process that I believe is replicable. And
Let's get into it. All right. This is getting informational.
my number one tip would be it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you save. That right there took me from saving $20 a month to $500 a month. Like that in between, when you're only able to save $500 a month, boy, you better be like saving every penny if you want to go far in life. Because if you're only able to save $500, $400, $300 in life, it's going to be very hard for you to generate money to invest to make more money.
Right.
So in the early stages, when I didn't have an opportunity to generate more cash flow, all I knew how to do was save money.
Like what do you mean?
So I would, every expense I had, it was written down, everything, every single penny, down to the penny that I spent. It was written down and it was accounted for and it was planned for. I think they're called budget tracking. Whatever the word for it is now, is you need to know every penny you need to survive for your month. You need to know how much money you save after that. And then you need a budget and really discipline yourself with that saving money. So for me, when I was only making $100 a month and I'm like, I need $20,000 to invest in something. That's a lot of my years. Like I really have to start saving now. So when my boys would be going out to restaurants or going out to the mall or going out to movies, even now I'm still kind of hesitant. Like I don't buy fancy clothes. I don't buy nice cars. It's just because I understand that in order to make money, you need money. And right now, given where I'm at in my circumstances, money is it's not generating a lot. So I need to save what is generating. I need to budget every penny I have with the intention to invest it. Not just invest it on a car or nice shoes.
It's not an investment.
Invest it on something that will make the money back.
Right. And like a car, for example, or your shoes, I think those are two great examples of something that somebody will buy and instantly loses value.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to invest in stuff like that.
I was not a fan of those things. No.
Right.
Early on, like even now, I'm still, I can afford designer clothes and a nicer car, but if I want another house, why am I spending thousands of dollars on something that's not going to make me money still? Like,
right.
Until I'm probably making millions, then I'll consider buying all these nice things that don't make me money. But
I'm at the same point. Like I would love a Porsche. I can get one for like 10 grand. I can get a used one. I would love to have a Rolex. The one that I want is like 4 or 5 grand. I could buy this stuff, but I know that that's not going to make me anything at all. So I'm going to wait until the passive income is coming into a degree where the investments are making enough that I can now reward myself with something of those luxuries. And so I think this is so crucial because this can be for any age group and any amount of money that you make. I personally know people that have and are making 50, 60K a month. You would think, my God, you're rich. But if your bills are 51K, 65K a month, you're broke. You're in debt. even if you're raking it in and then you have one off month or you lose your job or something happens where you can't work to the capacity that you were, now you're in a lot of trouble.
That's actually like how I came to that realization. I was making $2,000 a month, saving more than people that were making $8,000, and it blew my mind. I'm like, I just didn't understand it. So very early on, I realized it's not at all about how much you make. It's about how much you save.
Yeah, that is critical, because even if you're in high school now or you're a young adult and you're making $20 an hour or something, or even minimum wage, I think is now 15, you can still be saving hundreds of dollars a month, and over time that will compound, and you can then set yourself up. You don't even have to know what you're going to invest in. You don't know what condo you're going to buy or what property or what business. I'm sure the restaurant thing, that wasn't something that you knew a year and a half ahead of time. Hey, if I save up a certain amount of money, I'll be able to invest in this Italian place. It just kind of came to you, and you're like, okay, I've been saving up for something like this.
I was saving up for another property.
Right. And so then you were able to go, okay, actually, I have the capital. I can use it for this opportunity. Because the opportunity
just,
right.
That opportunity was not coming again. If you're in that position where you are like, you can't really generate enough money to invest it into something big, focus all your energy first into building the foundation of that budget list. Like, focus what you can cut out of that budget list, what's not necessary. I'm talking pennies I was saving. Like, if I saw a way I can save $5, I'm doing it. Like, there's if I'm saving $100 a month and that's 5% of my save, I'm doing it. Like, I found out that cellular services, they offer family plans. So I was paying $90 a month, and to add one more person on, it was $20 a month. So I did that. I found someone, I split it, and then eventually that grew to where I was making $300 a month off people just paying me. I wasn't even paying my own phone bill. I bought a new phone. They were paying for it all.
That's genius.
I was making anything I saw. I would literally look at every expense I had for the month, and can I save that? Can I figure out a way to drop that? And then once you have that foundation set in stone, like I do now, and I can carry it out through my entire life, focus all your energy into producing more income. Once you have that set and you're like, all right, no matter what I do, I can only save $400 a month. Now switch all your focus and all your energy into building more income. While you're focused on generating more income, understand that that's all going straight to savings.
Right.
That's not like more luxury money. That's going towards the grind. In the process of also finding that you'll come across ways to spend the money that you're saving now to generate more money. Like I was going to garage sales, I was flipping things, I was buying shoes, I was flipping those, I was finding all these ways. Like I found there's just so many ways you can spend $20 and make $25, like little tiny things.
Right.
So,
I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, it's fun
the
too.
Garage sale and thrift store grind.
Gary V's like still doing that as a billionaire.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So like I said, it's like there's no excuses it's just all a matter of how disciplined and how much you're willing to put in to get it.
What do you say to people that go, oh, I just don't have enough time, man. There's not enough
time. They don't want it enough. They don't want it. Because we all have 24 hours in a day. You're telling me, let's say you have 16 hours awake in a day. You have 16 hours to do it. So what are you spending those 16 hours on? If it's scrolling, if it's video gaming, if it's just sleeping more than 8 hours or something, like you have the time, but right now you're prioritizing other things instead. And sometimes like that's okay, but I would look into their life and probably judge them.
I know Patrick Bet-David, he talks about that all the time. He's like, outwork your competition. And if that means you got to sacrifice some sleep or that free time that you would watch Netflix or hanging out with a friend or like to get ahead, you're going to have to do what nobody else is willing to do. So that's huge.
There's only like 3 or 4 people that have worked more hours in the restaurants that I've worked, and they're all my bosses, but only like 3 of my bosses outworked and produced more hours than me, because overtime is a great way to make more money when you're like broke. So if I was making 16 an hour, I was trying to get 20 hours overtime because that was juice to me. Like now that's like crazy for me, but back then, that's the only that was the steps necessary.
Time and a half, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My uncle, who's actually very deep with his relationship in God, he told me these words. He said, "Nothing in life will satisfy you. Nothing this world has to offer will satisfy you. It will either leave you broken or wanting more. It will never quench that thirst." And those words were something that was coming true in my mind as I was going through life, just searching out things. And I was realizing, like, love, like all my life experiences led me to believe that the world it's not going to fulfill this hole and this desire for more. Like, nothing I went to, I was going to weed, I was going to money, I was going to sex, I was going to all these different things, and nothing, it was always breaking me worse than I was before, or it was just temporary fix, and then I needed to go back for more. Just
And
like,
you needed more of it.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
So once I'm like, my first girlfriend cheated on me, I was getting evicted, my dog was getting sent to the pound, my car just crashed, everything, my life kind of just fell apart on me when I was 17. Everything crumbled down that I was trying to build up and working so hard for, and I just felt so broken in that moment. And I literally got down on my knees and I started crying out to a God. I said, "God, if you're out there, show yourself. Like, if you're really real and you really want to fulfill that void in me, show it to me, and I'll do whatever it takes." And immediately, like, I feel it, like something happened, and all the pain I've ever felt and all the perspectives on the world I had from all the trauma I had was instantly just cleared out. Wow. And I just felt this like weight lifted off my shoulder that I've never felt before. Like a true peace and a true joy that I still haven't experienced that again since that moment. It was just,
wow.
It was supernatural, whatever it was. And like it struck me back so hard that I'm like, okay, like you are like whatever just happened, I can't explain it. I'm sitting on my knees crying out to you, and you instantly give me something that I've never felt before and exactly what I'm looking for. So immediately, all throughout the day, all my free time, all I'm doing is reading the Bible, trying to study his word and study what kind of God he is, what kind of life Jesus lived, like what his teachings are for how I live my life. And just all throughout reading the Gospels and all of this New Testament and Old Testament, I'm like, this book really is like a book of life. Like, it understands life and has this knowledge and wisdom of life that no human being can come up with on themselves.
Right.
If you really read the Bible, no human.
People have been studying it in its completion. I mean, it's been around for 6,000 years.
And they're still learning from it.
There's still, people study it for their whole lives and are still every week unlocking
It's
new
just,
things.
there's
It's
no
like,
way.
It's infinite.
Even if 20, 50 different humans wrote it, it's beyond what a human mind can write, in my opinion. Through just reading it and flipping through random pages and him speaking words that were directly correlated to what I was asking, is just so many supernatural things started happening. And as the journey kept going, he kept asking me, "Okay, you love me? Give this up for me."
Mm.
And it started with I was selling drugs because I was broke and I needed money, given what I was told about my life. And that was the first thing. And I was making more than my mom at 17 because I was selling drugs. And it took me all the way up to like 20 to start making the money that I was making from selling drugs. I was making a lot of money off of it. That was the first thing he told me. And I'm like, this feeling is worth more than all the money selling drugs. It's yours. It's done. I gave it up. All throughout faith, he just tells you, lose your flesh and I'll reward you. And those patterns in my very early on stage led me to where I am today. The heart for me to seek out God and understand him and know that he's real, it came from my brokenness and my darkness. That's where I am today. That's why I do anything I have it tattooed on me. Nevertheless, thy will be done, because no matter what I want, I understand and I know Christianity and being a disciple is giving your flesh up to align with him and submit to his will. And that sounds like, to those who aren't Christian, that sounds like, why would you do that? But to those who are Christian, you understand that his best interest is in mind whenever he tells you, give this up and do this. I don't question it anymore. I used to question it, but now after doing it so many times, I know 100% that whatever I'm about to give up, something better is about to happen. Like, he doesn't just do these things to, oh, you can't have sex. Like, haha. Like, there's a reason for it. And like, just through understanding all that, it's just, my life's his now. Like, whatever you say, let's make it happen. You're going to bless me. I know it.
I think what you said right there is so powerful. Every experience that I know of people that's been genuine, it's not through some pastor saying some compelling words that make you change your mind.
It's a real relationship.
It's a relationship. He wants a relationship, not a religionship. I used to think, I started a debate club in my high school, and I used to think I could debate people into believing into God. And so I would just debate, and I was so confused. I'm like, I made some great points. How do they not understand it? What? But I realized none of it makes any sense unless you have the belief and the faith. And then it starts to all make sense, and it gets so much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that they need to come to on their own. And so whenever I just hypo now, the number one thing that I say is like, look, on your own time. I'm not going to make you recite a prayer. I'm not going to convince you. On your own time, call out to him and go, God, show me that you're real. And then open your eyes and see, and he will absolutely show you that he's real. And it's not going to be, an audible voice. It could be, but it's not going to be an audible voice that comes. He's not going to open up a cloud and be like, hey, Tiago, it's me, God, I'm here. It's going to look through other people, through supernatural, like how you just described, with him just healing something that's been broken for so long, and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
I want more.
I want more. Yes. And when you seek more of him, that's the
more
only thing that you seek more, and you'll get more and more and more
Infinitely.
fulfilled.
Infinitely.
Yeah. And it is kind of like you keep chasing after it, and but it's never comes back void.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know so many people that make millions of dollars and that have every girl in the world and all this. I mean, I saw a clip today of Dan Bilzerian, that dude that I think scammed a bunch of people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his whole thing was like, he's like, I was being with 3 chicks a day, and if it was 2, I'd feel like it's not enough and all this. And he's now totally flipped the script. He's like, look, monogamy is the way to go. Like, that life, it's so fleeting, and it doesn't bring you any satisfaction at the end of the day. And it just keeps you get more and more callous, and it's just worth nothing. Where it's that deep relationship with God, deep relationship with your wife. It's that your money making you money, and like you're able to actually build wealth by working smarter and not harder. It's like these basic principles that God gave us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just as you said, it's not like they're just rules to be like, hey, prove to me that you believe in me. It's like, these are the rules to live in harmony with the integrity of how the universe and the world is built. And when you do that, everything just starts to fall in place. And it's like, it's for your own good.
Right.
And even if you start out by going, hey, look, God, I'm going to seek you because I want a better life, that's fine. But eventually, all this stuff will start to fade away, and then you just become a servant to him.
It's like ingratitude and in debt. I want to, like, that's what it was. I don't think it's bad that you come to God saying, come to me, like, help me.
Yeah, help me out.
But once you do the acts and you do the services, he will become your God, and you will want to respect him and love him. And I do it out of love. I don't do it out of fear. Like, he is my director of my life.
What do you think having fear in the Lord means? Because I know a lot of people get confused with that. It's like, why should I fear God? And why does the Bible tell us to fear him? If we should?
It's a reverent fear. It's not a fear that he's just going to strike you dead out of nowhere when you're in sin. It's a fear that says, just like you love your father and you fear letting him down and misusing his name or dishonoring him. It's that type of fear.
It's a respect.
It's a respect. Like I said, like, I'm in gratitude to him. So now my love is, that's why the what is it? beginning of knowledge is fear of the Lord, is because once you have that respect for the Lord and that submission that he's the higher head, then that's when he pours all that knowledge and wisdom into you. That's what I think it means.
I think that's what it means as well. I think you're spot on. And I look back, a lot of people have a lot of church hurt, and they're like, they just try to tell you not to do all these things that you want to do, and it's very much like you should fear. People have misconstrued for all of mankind what fearing God means, and you fear ultimately going to hell, and that gets tiresome if it's not a genuine, real connection. It gets tiresome to just fear eternal damnation for.
Yeah, I don't like those who preach to save people based off fear, and you're go to Jesus or you're going to hell, because that's not going to capture hearts. No one wants to hear that. That's
right.
just fear based. Now you're going to God because you're scared he's going to doom you for the rest of eternity. That's not the type of God that I serve. Like he's far more loving than that. It's a lot more complex and harder to understand than what they're preaching.
Absolutely. And I think the church and people just overall, especially us young people, are waking up more and more each and every year. This year especially, I've been seeing it's starting to click, and people really are beginning to understand. And I truly believe it doesn't matter who's the president. It doesn't matter how much money's in the economy and all this stuff. These are all, at the end of the day, meaningless things. And it's truly about being in the kingdom, and joy is ultimately just having that eternal content, being content and having the peace no matter what the circumstance is. And I see this country and I see young people moving toward that every year and desiring that. And I think there's a mass awakening happening. It's just going to keep getting deeper, and I can't wait. So
it needs to happen.
Absolutely.
One thing I do want to share that I realized early on in life, and I'm also still learning the depths of it today in my Christianity, is God placed laws on this earth, just like the law of gravity. If an apple falls, it's gonna go down.
It's going down. It's not
gonna
going to ever go up.
Yeah,
right.
It's not gonna just float right there. 100 times out of 100, law of gravity will be enacted and the apple will fall down. There's also these deeper laws. One of the laws being the wages of sin is death. That law, whether you're Christian or not, that law exists for you. Whether you're Christian or not, an apple is always going to fall down from a tree. Whether you're Christian or not, the wages of sin will always be death. And I'm not talking death like stricken down dead. Death to me is mentally, it's physically, it's emotionally, it's relationally, it's financially, it's all these different areas. If sin is in your life, depression will also follow. Death will also follow. Like
anxiety,
all these things.
Right.
That's how I found God, is through going after these things for joy and hope. I found that they were giving me death instead. They were making it harder for my life. So I just want people to think about that. Like that law, whether you're Christian or not, I believe sin equals death. There is no if, ands, or up. Like I'm Christian and I'm following God, and if I choose to go off and have sex in my life, the death still is going to come to me in one way or another. It's not exclusive to just non-Christians. So keep that in mind, and also keep in mind another law, that obedience equals life. It's the flip side of that law. The only way to obtain that true happiness and that true peace and that filling of the void is through obedience. There's no other thing out here on earth that will fulfill what you're seeking for. You can spend another 5 years trying to fill that void, but I promise you the only way to do it is through obedience and through loving him.
And true wisdom is being able to listen to this podcast, listen to mentors and learn from them and go, I don't need to experience this deep, dark pit. I don't need to get an STD to realize I probably shouldn't be having sex.
Right.
I don't need to experience this trauma,
Heartbreak,
overdose,
getting cheated on.
Right. All this stuff
Yeah.
in order to learn. Like one example, my dad, he told me a couple of stories from when he was in high school he had a couple friends that died from drunk driving. And he even told me this one story this time where he was in the car and somebody that was drunk got on the wheel. He's in the middle of the back seat and he's like, get me out of here. And they're like, dude, no, it's right down the street. It'll be okay. He's like, get me out of here. And they were trying to hold him in. He fought his way out, got out. They went, trying to convince him not to go. They went, crashed. Some of them died. And he could have been in that car. And he said, learn from me, son. Don't drive drunk and have to crash and go through it in order to understand that that's bad. You can learn from me.
others' mistakes.
Yes. And that was 100% something that sunk with me. And I'm like, I'm not even going to start to drink. Because if I don't even start to drink, I'll never be in a predicament where I am drunk and I'm in a car. It's like,
that's good. That's the exact reason why I never touched a pill or snorted anything. Like it was around me my entire life, but I saw the death. My mom's sin caused me death. Like that just the law and the way this works goes so deep. But because of her drug addiction and habits, the death it caused me, I'm like, I will never want to go through that for myself or put anyone through what my mom has put me through.
Like for me, my most recent victory has been pot. Like I used to smoke every day, just like all into it for my anxiety and for my stutter. It helps with my depression, and it would. It's like a little like Band-Aid that you put over. And I was like, okay, I smoked. I feel great now. I'm at peace. I was so anxious. Oh my gosh, I thought the sky was falling, but now everything's fine. I can chill. And the more I would do it, the more I would need it. And it just kept going down this path where it was like,
not enough.
It was never enough. And then it was all day, every day. And it's like, this is not the way I want my kids to see me. This is not the way that I want my wife to see me. And I was saying for years before I quit, I want to quit. I got to quit. And I couldn't. And it was totally not by my own doing, but by God filling me with the Holy Spirit that gave me the strength to overcome that. And now, oh my gosh, my ups and downs. I thought I was bipolar because when I'd be sad and then I'd be happy and I'd be sad and I'd be happy. This is because I was sad because I wasn't high, and then I was happy when I was high. Of course, I felt like I was. I went to a therapist, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you got bipolar," and I took that label on, and I was like, "Oh, I guess this is just who I am." Literally, I stopped smoking pot. My ups and downs are like this now. Going from this to now, I'm like right at homeostasis, and my ups and downs are so minuscule. It's amazing, and so it's like, you're so right. You reap what you sow. The outcome of sin is going to lead to death and just more of this, what the youth seems to be struggling with, and they're attaching themselves to these labels of, oh, I'm ADHD, I'm OCD, I'm autistic, I'm this, I'm that, and they're trying to define all these things in order to create this personality around it almost, and justify it. Oh, I have a chemical imbalance. It's like, okay, but like, what are you doing in your life that's out of harmony with how we're supposed to live? And maybe if you put that at the feet of the Lord and try to stop that, you'll go into a valley and it'll be tough, but then you'll come out and you'll be able to overcome all this stuff without any sort of outside acknowledgement, more money, more whatever. I mean, gosh dang, I think you're spot on, man.
I agree with that, especially for mental illnesses. There are a few cases where it is a chemical imbalance, but it's nowhere near what doctors are saying it is.
100%.
I like how you came to the realization that through taking weed, it's not fulfilling me. The things are still in my head. I gotta take more. Now I need to take more and more and more, and it's still. It's the same thing with doctors. They're prescribing you drugs. They're not fixing the root problem in your mind. They're just nullifying it, and they're giving you this. This is who I am. I accept this. This will always be me. That's not what I believe in, like at all. I believe in a transforming of the mind, and I've seen it happen in my own mind. Is these labels, because I was ADHD and I was depressed because of my life, but that's giving up, in my opinion. It's not looking for the real source of joy and happiness. The root. It's dad, not a pill bottle.
Right. My dad, he always says, you don't have a headache because of a lack of aspirin in your body.
It's something else that causes
There's
it.
a root cause to it. If you fix the root cause, the headache will go away. It's like, it's not because you don't have aspirin. The aspirin is just decreasing the side effects of this root condition. And so, man, I think this is so deep, and I hope that our audience gains something from this today.
As do I.
Yeah, just as far as understanding that they don't have to succumb to these conditions that are being normalized and all this. It doesn't have to be your normal at all.
Whatever life gave you, whatever your hardships are, whatever you're facing right now, I just hope you can see you can overcome whatever it is that came your way.
And you too one day can own a condo and a
a
restaurant.
restaurant and a business.
No, man, that's so good. I can't wait to see what is something that you would tell your 16-year-old self.
16.
We have a young audience, something that you would tell your past self, and don't give me an answer like invest in Microsoft or something.
For me, it would honestly be like a deep sit down conversation expressing the value of your time. Like because I was, like I said, I was doing all the right things with my time, but it still wasn't where I am today. Where you spend your time, especially at that young age, you have the ability to start your life before anybody else. Before all my friends are out of college, I have all this foundation and wealth that I built up. They're going to come out of college in debt because I started when I was 15, 16. So even though I did it, I'd still tell myself again, like, do it harder, do it more, because the value that adds to your later on life. When now that I'm 25 and I'm not 16, I do not have the time that I did when I was 16. I don't have the ability to do the things I did when I was 16. Life is different when you grow older. More responsibilities.
Less energy,
which I hate that I'm learning. Caffeine pills are like my only way to get by now. But you don't waste your time. Like, everyone's telling you, go have fun. You're 16. Go to parties. Go date someone. Go, like, nah, bro. Just grind. I don't. That's all I'd have to say is use your time better. Figure out what's wasting your time, what's not getting you towards your dreams, and make sure the majority of your time is spent towards getting towards your dreams.
So create some dreams, what you want your ideal life to look like. Take that dream, create a plan. Now it's
dream
a vision.
big too. Like,
Yes.
don't just dream big.
Dream so big that it's scary. Dream so big that
It's
you can't do it
impossible.
alone.
Right.
And then create tasks, goals,
Mm-hmm.
in order to obtain the vision, and then everything in your life.
Hone it towards that.
Yeah, if it's not
Exactly.
going to accomplish the goals that you have set, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
Video games, scrolling through social media, watching TV. I mean, I believe that, like, I'm learning now, because I was so crazy about it, that a balance is necessary. Like, you need to be able to have fun with your friends and not work 16 hours a day or something. But
I guarantee you're not
Yeah.
sitting here at 25 reflecting back and going, man,
I wish I
I
didn't.
didn't. Yeah, I wish I didn't put that overtime at Chipotle.
Right, not at all.
You don't even remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing I learned early on working too, is when I was doing those 14-hour days, 15-hour days in a hot kitchen, as soon as I woke up tomorrow, that day was over with. Like, all those challenges, all that hard grinding for 10 an hour, it was done with. It was in my back pocket. Now it's a new day to chase after my dreams.
And even if you're listening to this and you are 25, you're 35, you're 45, it's never too late. The best time to start is today.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait until tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes.
Success is not guaranteed. It will not fall into your lap at all. Like, you got to work hard for that.
Absolutely. All right, Tiago, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes, sir.
This was a great episode. I hope our audience gained some value from this. If you did, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought. What was your favorite part? And we're also going to link Tiago's business down below too, if you want to scope it out, if you need some custom packaging.
Let's make some money together.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to the TLT Movement Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the TLT Movement podcast. If you liked what you heard, maybe it will bring somebody else in your life value too. So please share with a friend, subscribe to our YouTube, and comment and let us know what you think. Our podcast is available on Spotify and Apple, and we would very much appreciate a 5-star review. Visit our site, tltmovement.com.